All right, the Coach Wimp Sanderson with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline, presented each week by our friends at the Rental Works Division of Crane Works. Hello, Coach. How are you today?
I'm doing okay, I guess. You guys all right?
Doing great. Thanks a lot.
Let me say this to you guys. I listen to you on the show a lot, and I listen to a lot of other people. Most of you don't understand, and y'all certainly don't understand tournament basketball.
Okay.
I
think
I mean, what is there to understand? You win, you advance, you lose, you go home. I mean,
if you look at our brackets, you're right.
Yep.
Okay. Y'all do talking, and I'll hush.
No, you're right. I'm not arguing with you. Dunaway's the one arguing. I don't understand it. I've had to pay off so many of these stupid bets.
Well, the points are you certainly don't. You'll be the one that has to make the trip.
Yep.
It's a fact that when you play 3 or 4 games in your conference tournament, and then you play 6 games to win in the NCAA tournament, that somewhere along the line you either don't play well. You forget the seed next to the number. It doesn't make a difference what the seed is, what your seed is. You play poorly in a game, or you don't play poorly in the game, and the team that you play plays a lot better. Somewhere along the line in those 9 games, you get beat. You just do. You've got to be very fortunate, very lucky, and very good. Tennessee 2 for 18 in the game that they played against Michigan. So that happens to you all the time. I'm proud of what we were able to do. We were able to win 11 straight games in the SEC tournament, which I don't think has ever been done before. So it's hard to do. I shouldn't be bragging. I shouldn't have said that. But anyway.
Well, no, it's okay to brag about that. But let me ask you this, Wim.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Auburn's in the game, and they've got a very bad mismatch because they're playing against 5 guards, and they don't adjust to that guard position. And you look at them on the bench. They're not into the game. And I'm not criticizing Bruce did a great job getting those players in there. They're not into the game. Kessler's got 2 fouls. They're not into the game.
Yeah.
Not at all. And not ready to play.
Well, that's got to be on coaching.
Okay, it is. And then you look at Alabama. They lose the very first play that Alabama ran, where they picked and ran for Quindley to kick the ball to Charles Bediako. He dunked it. And then he gets hurt, and the guy that takes his place, and I'm not taking up for him. I'm just trying to explain to you everything happened. The guy that takes up for him, he got 6 turnovers.
Yeah.
So there are things that happen to you. You as a radio host try to talk about those. That's what you're supposed to do. But it's the severity of not winning every game in those 9 games is much more difficult than people realize.
Well, I understand it's difficult, but let me start with the fact you have always put a big amount of importance on the SEC tournament.
I have.
Okay, and you're telling me now that if I play great in the SEC tournament and win that, the chances of me backing that up and winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament is very low, that I can run 9 straight games at being really, really good. And I say to you then, why am I trying to hang around and play all day long, all weekend long like Tennessee did, before I go play the games that count the most, the NCAA tournament?
Because you don't know what's going to happen. I'm just pointing out to you. I don't know what's going to happen. Of course, there's naturally the teams that win has done that. Whoever wins this tournament is going to have played 3 games in a conference tournament and the 6 in the NCAA. They were able to do it. I'm hoping my team will continue to play as well as they played in the SEC tournament. I got to the final 16 and I faltered. 6 times I faltered, and so it's bad. At least I got there, but it was terrible when I got there. I'll never get over not getting any further. But we played, we prepared, we coached, we did everything we could do. We knew the other team, and we got beat. And I just think sometimes we don't grasp how difficult that is to do that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with being in the Sweet 16. It is. Yeah. I thought getting to the Sweet 16 is a great accomplishment. You got to win 2 games in the NCAA tournament, and I know that if you get a 1 or 2 seed, that first game's almost a gimme. And then after that, it's even for a 1 and 2 seed. That second game is a tough game just to get to the Sweet 16.
Well,
and you never had an easy draw in the first round. You never had an easy draw.
Yeah, I'm not really here to. I just think that Auburn will never have better play. And I'm not criticizing Bruce. He's done a great job, and he's recruited great players. They will never have as many good players on that team as never again. Now they may have a team doesn't have as many good players and wins more. They may have players that on that team, on the coming teams, that are not as good one by one as they were this year, and they may win more. It's a difficulty to explain, and people try to overdo it, and I don't know the answer to it. Just sometimes your team just doesn't play the way they should play, and the other team does.
Are we just getting a lot more parity in college basketball? And the reason I bring that up, at least Auburn won their first round game as a 2 seed. Yeah. You look at Kentucky, and now it's been a decade that Calipari has not won a national championship. And look, I know those are very difficult to do, but he's got a ton of talent. He's got an 8-point lead in the second half against St. Peter's, and he blows that. And now St. Peter's is on to the Sweet 16.
I don't think that he blew it. I just think that Grady, the kid that shoots the basketball, had a terrible tournament and could not shoot the basketball at all. I think they were very average on the perimeter. I think Tata's good, not great. I think Wheeler's good, not great. Certainly got to go inside and get him the basketball, and he did to the tune of 30 points, but nobody else had double figures except Wheeler on the drive, and he made 11. And so, I'm just here to explain to you that maybe Kentucky's not as good, that somebody pretty easy can beat them. Not pretty easy, but can beat them, and just so happens that St. Peter's was up and played awfully well, and all the shots went in. Alabama is going. Auburn gets away from the arena, and they're 6-5 in their last 11 games. It's just hard to explain. You say the parity's there. The parity, I think, has always been there. You just got to be. I don't have an answer to Alabama struggle like a dick is shooting a basketball. Him saying he shouldn't have said this, but he see him saying that they had to shoot around, some didn't go. That's no big deal. That's no big deal at all. I got ready for the championship game against LSU in Atlanta in the basement of the hotel with the floor taped with tape for a court, and walked through everything that LSU did and what we did, and didn't shoot a lick. Syracuse, Jim Boeheim believes that you never shoot on game day. Never. Okay. Go ahead. Ask me. I went and got through that.
He's the coach, Wimp Sanderson. He is on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. He's presented each week by the Rental Works division of Crane Works. We did some videos there. You can see those on our social media and Crane Works social media as well. Coach is very smart about rental equipment. Does Arkansas have any chance? I mean, that's the only SEC team left. Do you see them with any chance? The way they have played these first 2 games has not been great, and Gonzaga is maybe the best team left in this thing.
Well, I don't know if they're the best team. They haven't played real well, but I would say, I don't want to say no chance. I would think they're going to have to fight like a Dickens with these 2 shooters. I don't know how good Gonzaga is defensively. I hadn't studied them much. I would just say, to answer your question, it's going to be a difficult game. But we talk about the SEC, and here and we talk about the Big Ten. They bring in 9, lose 7. And SEC brings in 6 and loses 5. It's one and done. It's difficult to understand why Tennessee didn't play better, and they're on Rick about never winning the NCAA tournament, so they were on me too. So,
but it is. We always talk about it. What a tough road it is to win the college basketball national championship. I personally think it's harder than baseball and college football to be national champions in basketball.
It ain't easy. Yeah, it's not easy.
It is not, and Gonzaga's never won it. And I want to follow up on what Brown is talking about. That this to me, and LT said this earlier a couple of times this basketball season, that this Gonzaga team is not as good as last year's Gonzaga team, but that doesn't mean they won't win the national championship this year and be the first time to ever do that, just because of the way everyone else looks. Is that a fair statement?
I think it is. I don't know if they'll win it. They're probably just as good. Everybody's a Timmy fan. I happen not to be one.
Not everybody. Not everybody.
If you're not pulling for Gonzaga, it's hard to be a Timmy fan.
That guy's hard to like. He's a heck of a player.
I'm not a Timmy fan.
But he's a great player, though. You got to say that, right?
He's a good player.
Okay, he's a good player.
Yeah, very good. I'm just not a fan of that.
I'm not either.
The way they play. I'm not a fan of headbands. Anyway, it's okay.
So it's the headband?
Well, I mean, that's part of it.
I just don't. He's okay. I mean, think
that's
Gonzaga.
part of it. He's putting on a. I don't know. It seems like he's
I
more
like
worried about his
their
look.
coach real well. I like their coach a great deal. He's very, very good. And you know, Houston, Arizona will be a good game. Arizona hadn't played well. Houston will beat you if you don't play. When I saw you pick UAB to beat Houston, I knew you were goner. You were a goner. So because I knew that wasn't going to happen.
A goner.
It could have happened, but I knew it wasn't. So anyway. Y'all got any questions?
Yeah, I
Lance
wanted
does.
one more on this. Coaching matchups. How important is that? Because you mentioned Houston, Arizona. I mean, Tommy Lloyd's done a great job. He's going to be your National Coach of the Year. But this is his first ride as a head coach in this tournament, and now he's going against Kelvin Sampson, and that guy's a dinosaur. I mean, that guy's been there forever, and he's taken multiple programs to Final Fours. And then on the other side of the bracket, you've got Coach Krzyzewski maybe coaching his last game against Mark Adams, taking that Texas Tech program over. How important are coaching matchups once you get to this third game?
Well, I just think you're able to be darn sure you match up personnel wise. You know, Houston does a great job of stopping the two guards that UAB had. They're very, very good defensively, and defense wins if you can score at all. And I think coaching is important. Texas Tech is very good defensively. I think something that I can't answer is rest is important, and most coaches work you to death in February and March because they got a big game coming up, and instead of working an hour, they'll work 2.5 hours. I did the very opposite, but and that's okay. Not that I did it right, but that's what most coaches do. And I think if their teams match up well, then I think Texas Tech has got a chance. I don't know how they match. Texas Tech's got two big guys. I think Houston will probably match up well against Arizona. Certainly, coach at Arizona was at Gonzaga. He knows what he wants to do, and he's a great recruiter. So we'll see what happens there. Villanova and Michigan, I'm not sure about. So we can talk about that.
I want to ask you this, Wimp. You hear it all the time that this is a guards tournament. And I watched the Auburn and Miami game, and you talked about them going small and playing 4 guards. And I thought Auburn's guards had a horrible day that day. Yeah. And do you buy into that this is a guards tournament? And when they say that, what are they talking about?
Yeah, they control the game. But Johnson kid, he takes it to the hole. KD does, and just goes crazy and is out of sorts. Now, he played hard. The rest of them didn't get the rebounds, didn't act like they were ready to play, and they met adversity a little bit. And when you meet adversity and you throw the camera on the bench, then you know that adversity where they play at Auburn, they comes back. All somebody's got to do is dunk one. Everybody's back on them, and they're all excited. It wasn't there because they weren't at home, and they weren't excited to play, it didn't look like. But I don't know. It's just hard for me to explain to you. I'm not doing a very good job of doing it, but their mental attitude in a game, everybody that got beat, it's got to be first. They got to be ready to play. They can't worry about a 3 seed versus a 15, as Kentucky had against St. Peter's. They've got to get out and play the game. The other thing is coming to light, and I'll hush because y'all don't want to talk about that. Is the NIL and the transfer portal have now come together. Mm-hmm. Tennessee has gone out and bought a guy, drove up there, offered him all this kind of money to play, which is not what the NIL is supposed to do. When you get into the NIL and you start seeing that you don't get as much money as the guy beside you, then the transfer portal comes in effect. We're going to have more problems, and I know y'all don't agree. It's fine. We're going to have more problems with this NIL and this transfer deal being together. And I'm the only one that said that. The NIL now. Here's what Tennessee says. Tennessee says A&M was cheating. Well, A&M, we can't verify that A&M was. They probably did. They didn't use the NIL money the way it's supposed to use. Now we're having coaches in each institutions be in charge of the transfer portal, and now we have coaches in charge of the NIL. And the NIL is Auburn's raised a lot of money. Now, whether their coach can hang on or not to use it, I don't know. But we're seeing something for you two guys to talk about a lot because there's going to be a lot of problems.
Yeah, but I mean, you just adjust, right? I mean, Tennessee's adjusting. Alabama will adjust. Texas A&M is adjusted. LSU
you think
will
that's
adjust.
Adjusting to drive down there and give the guy what he's going to give you. Is that adjusting or is that illegal?
Well,
It's legal right now.
So you better
wait
adjust.
a minute. That's what I thought y'all said. Y'all
Yeah.
said it was illegal.
No, it's legal. It's legal right now. So you better.
No, it's not legal.
It is.
No,
Yes, it is. 100% it is.
It is not legal the way they did it. You guys are wrong, dead wrong. It's not what the rules say.
How is it illegal? What's illegal about it?
Until they.
You can't argue with people who don't understand stuff.
Well, I'm
you can't do
telling
it.
you. I'm
You just
telling
made your
you.
point.
You can't
Sometimes-
understand, but you gotta understand. But you can't talk three idiots.
Until they pull somebody over for driving 75, people are going to drive 75, and this is what is happening right now. They're not penalizing anybody, so people are going to keep doing it.
Okay.
You've upset him.
No,
I think it was
maybe,
abundantly
you know,
clear.
you go drive down there, and you're going to go down there and offer the guy whatever you offer him a new car. You got his picture made in a new car, and then the mother says, "Well, the parents were the wives of the coaches were real nice to me. They hugged me. I think we're going to move to Nashville now that he's getting this." That's not what the NIL is all about.
Well, it may not be what it's all about, but that doesn't make
And
it
it's not.
illegal.
And it's going to cut down on the money that people give the school.
That is true.
It's going
You're
to cut down on
absolutely
it a great deal.
Yep.
And if you know, every time you got two daughters going to school, I hear you talk about that all the time, and you brag on Montevallo all the time. And
Yeah, Jim.
LT's going to have all these guys, you know, and they go. They're not playing, but you know, you just can't jump from one school to another. You guys love the transfer portal. Transfer portal kills athletics. Kills it. You guys don't. You know.
Well, it kills it from a coach's perspective, not from a player's. It's a rule.
No,
to help.
not from your perspective.
Well, but
Yeah,
I-
but it also helps a lot of teams out. I mean, Texas
Yeah.
Tech wouldn't be where they
Sure
are
does.
right now.
Alabama
It
would have
sure
been in
does.
the
It helped
Alabama.
Auburn out.
It helped Alabama out a ton.
Yeah.
Jamison
Yeah.
Williams, they
That's
would have been
right.
in the championship game.
Well, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it, y'all.
Well, I mean, I think Nick Saban's a pretty good coach. He chose to do it that way.
But you would do it that
He
exactly.
by the way, Dick Saban was against it.
Well, he sure is not acting like he is.
But coach, if
Well,
you
no.
were, if you were
Not-
coaching
not,
today,
not if everybody else is going to do
Well,
it.
then he's not
That's the
against
point.
it.
That's the point in cheat. You guys don't know jack crap about anything.
He is the coach, Wimp Sanderson. He's presented each week by the Riddleworks division of Craneworks. Tell him about it, Coach.
Whether you have a at-home project coming up or a corporate construction job, you need to check out rentalworks.com.
You know what I love?
What?
And rain. Well, let me get through.
Okay.
And
Go ahead.
Craneworks.
Go
They
ahead.
have everything
Jesus,
from landscaping
Doug.
equipment to excavators. Check out their full fleet on craneworks.com. David Upton's a good friend of mine. I enjoy doing those things, but that's hard to do. Pick those machines. That was pretty stupid of me.
Well, you did a great job, Coach. All right,
Oh, yeah, I
Coach.
did a great job.
You know what I love? You against
What?
NIL and then dropping a commercial on me. I like that. That's
the
what I
coach.
love.
That's the coach.
God
That's what I
bless
love.
America.
All right, love you, Coach.
All three of you take a hike.
That's the coach, Wimp Sanderson, on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.